Sunny, welcome back. My name is Wendy and today we are doing a 10-minute prenatal stretching exercise class. And guess what? We're pregnant. So excited, new Sunny baby coming along to help you with all of your little prenatal stretches. So let's get started. Hey Sunny, welcome back. My name is Wendy and I will be taking you through this 10-minute prenatal stretching class. If you are pregnant like me or you just found out, congratulations. We are so happy to have you and little baby as part of our team to work out with us. So if you notice here, I got my mat, I have a chair and I have a blanket here. We're gonna just start with a little bit of a bent over chair stretch here. So we're gonna get into that upper back, shoulders, and into your lower back. So if you're further along in your pregnancy, this will particularly feel great. I have some back issues, so this feels good for me right now. I'm only about 15 weeks along. So we are just gonna flatten that back out. My palms are face down. You can also rotate your hands and face them up, whatever feels the most comfortable for you. Flattening out that back. Extending here. Knees can be slightly bent. You can also straighten your legs if you want a little bit more of a hamstring stretch. And we are just going to allow your back to open up. There's a lot of tension in our backs, especially as we move into further along in our pregnancies. So just allowing your shoulders to open as we stretch into your upper back here, focusing on that upper body just here for a moment. Getting some movement in that space too. Now I want you to move down your spine. We can keep your upper body kind of neutral here. And we're just gonna do a slight rotation, almost mimicking like a cat-cow. We're gonna do that later on, so don't worry, you don't need to do anything big, just a little bit of movement right here for that lower back. Now I want you to bend into those knees and we're gonna straighten out here. Make sure you're breathing with this. And again, this doesn't have to be isolated. You can keep your body moving and slowly getting up. If you're in your first trimester, I'm in my second, just started in my second. Sometimes you can get really dizzy, so just make sure that you are moving slowly through these and make sure that you keep your hand on the chair as you come out of these positions. Let's move into a quad stretch. Again, hand on your chair. Your balance might decrease a little bit through your pregnancy as you kind of get acclimated to a different style of mobility. Obviously, your muscles are changing quite a bit during this time. So we're just gonna pull back on this quad, opening up the front part of your leg here. Taking some deep breaths. Allowing your shoulders to relax, face and head relaxing too. And I'm just gonna switch the chair sides. You can just move around your chair as you need to. And moving into that other leg quad stretch here. One side might be a little bit tighter than the other side. I have some, obviously because of my lower back injury, I have some hip issues too. My hips are often very tight, my hamstrings are tight, so I have to be very conscious about continuing to stretch those, especially during pregnancy. If you don't know, the muscles in your inner thighs really start to loosen up. So just make sure that you're not doing any exercises where you're pushing or pulling your thighs in and out, abductors, adductors. You can do ones that target the outside of your leg, but just not the inner part of your thigh. So I'm gonna have us sit down here in a chair. Back is gonna be straight up. We're gonna keep this knee bent here, crossing this leg over. You're going to have one palm on your foot here, keeping that foot flexed. Right hand is going to be on that knee, chest is straight up, and we are just gonna tilt forward until you feel a lot of tension in that glute and hip. Holding right here for a few beats. Breathing in. Let's release that for a moment. We're gonna go one more round. Foot flex, pressing lightly down on that knee, tilting forward, back is flat until you get into that tension point. You notice that my foot was a little bit inward. You wanna make sure that your knee is over your ankle on your standing foot and it's aligned. All right, switching here again. Align that foot first, crossing over, foot is flexed. Wherever it feels comfortable to cross. This side is definitely tighter for me. Left hand presses down slightly and bending forward. So if you don't have the same range of motion on each side, that's totally okay, that happens. Just take a note of that so that you maybe could give that time a little bit, that side a little bit more time if you need to, a little bit more attention, just being conscious that one side might be a slight bit tighter. All right, again, moving slowly out of this chair. We're gonna step it off to the side here. We're gonna come down onto the mat. You can grab your blanket. I have a blanket just because I want a little extra support for my knee as I go into this hip flexor stretch. So in our setup here, knee is going to be over ankle and hip is going to be opened up right here into that glute. Chest is up for the moment right now. So as you don't actually have to move a ton here, you can just rotate your hip forward. As you notice, I popped my butt, I'm exaggerating a bit here, but popped my butt and then I actually just tucked that tailbone under and you're going to feel a stretch right in your your quad. You'll feel it down your quad and into your hip flexor right here. So if you are still struggling to feel that as you rotate those hips forward, rolling forward, you can lean into it a little bit more and you'll get even more of a stretch right here. Again, I have my chest up. I like to keep everything engaged, core engaged as I do this, really focusing on that hip. Deep breath here. Sometimes you'll see people go really deep into it right here. I like to keep it super isolated so that I am engaging my core. Obviously, you want to still be working your core as you go through your pregnancy. There are a lot of exercises that you are going to be limited to. Planks are very safe. Anything that's on your back that you're like crunching forward, you want to eliminate from your exercise program. But we need to be conscious that your abs should still be engaged. So I'm gonna now open up my leg here. We're gonna go into that inner thigh. Both hands are gonna be placed down. Now, if this is too hard to get into, you can actually just stay up here and be able to open up this leg right here to get this inner thigh. So again, these muscles in your inner thigh are loosening up as you become more pregnant, and that's just preparing for giving birth. If you can come all the way down, we're just gonna open up into that right hip a little bit. Deep breath here. And you can give this a little bit of movement. And coming back up. I'm now gonna go into a child's pose, or not child's pose, a pigeon pose, crossing that knee under and tucking. So if you're very pregnant, this might be a harder position to get into, and you can kind of lift up, maybe having some blocks. Maybe this is just too difficult. We are hitting the same muscle groups that we did in the seated piriformis stretch, or known as your folding four. So if you can't get into this position, that's totally fine. If you want to go a little bit deeper here, we can. You can also fully surrender, coming down onto your elbows and really flattening that back, fully aligning everything, relaxing those shoulders, really getting into that side of your hip. Deep breath here, we'll switch to the other side. Lifting up, very good. So swinging that leg out, and we're gonna go, I'm gonna flip us over to the other side so that you can see the side. All right. Left leg's gonna come forward and getting into position here again. So making sure that your hips are aligned. Again, I'm just going to exaggerate this. If your butt is popped, we're gonna tuck this under here, getting that stretch into that hip flexor. Keeping your chest up. If you want to move forward a little bit, you can. I don't need to. It's stretching quite a bit right now, right here. Very good. Some deep breaths here as we open that up. Now, wiggling that foot out to the side here, we're just gonna open your hips a little bit more on that left side. Hands are gonna come down if you can. Again, some movement here in the hips. It's totally fine wherever it feels comfortable. Once it gets like really tender, you can hold there for a few beats, opening that hip up a little bit more. Deep breath. Very good. We're gonna be finishing off here with this pigeon pose in this side. And coming back, again, moving slowly, and really just listen to your body, especially during pregnancy. I mean, all of the time, I really encourage listening to your body, but your body is changing so much during pregnancy, and you might not be able to do the same things that you used to do, and that can be very, very frustrating. So just allowing yourself some grace and some sympathy here as you go through this new transition and as your body starts to change. If there are certain positions that you can't get into, it's totally okay. Stretch in whatever way your body is telling you that it needs. And again, if you'd like to fully surrender here, we can. Very good. Relaxing your shoulders, face. Deep breath. And pressing yourself back up. The way I should have transitioned out of that the last time is just swiveling over to your side here. Thank you so much for joining me for this 10-minute prenatal stretching class. I hope to see you back here soon, and we'll see your sunny baby soon.